胸の傷が痛んでも何のために生まれて何をして生きるのか
Looking back on your life, you can see the paths you chose over the years. It's strange to think that my tender memories are part of my origin, too.
Why are you clothing me? Is this truly not an interrogation, then? Scented oils. Why waste them on a prisoner of war? This doesn't make sense. Giving me fresh clothes with a delightful aroma? What am I being prepared for?
Well, I would say you're looking presentable now.
I don't know what's going on. Is this some weird ritual for prisoners? Don't tell me.
Hello!
Hey, how are you?
Doing well, how are you? Sorry to make you wait. I was setting up things.
No, take your time. I'm in no rush here. Just
How are
need
you
a
doing today?
I'm fine. I got some sleep last night. I was up until 12 o'clock in the morning.
Oh,
I
yeah,
was
that'll
doing
do it.
I was doing the beta test for Gears of War E-Day.
Oh, how was it?
Oh, that's great. I'm probably gonna do some more or later tonight. So yeah, I was like the
Yeah, just testing.
controls are kind of complicated.
Oh,
So just
really?
it's not like the other Gears of War games I played up to this point. So I'm trying to get used to climbing over objects now.
I
So
admittedly have not played any of that yet.
so that's a new one. Yeah, I just finished putting up some promos for you, and I was like, she's probably not gonna see this because
Oh,
I tried to reach you last year. I was like, yeah, she
oh
must
my gosh! I'm
she
glad that we're meeting up now. I don't know. I'm like, it's so funny. Like social media, I'll have like a day where I respond to everything, and then I'm like, okay,
yeah,
back to
I
running.
but here's the thing though, I tried so many times I was like, forget it. She's not gonna see me.
No, I'm
Mhm.
here now. I'm happy to see you.
Okay. Just making sure, because I was like, she must be super busy, so I really can't blame her. So,
Oh my goodness. Yeah,
but
I guess we'll chat about it probably more in the
yes, but
in the podcast. But
overall, how's your Friday going?
pretty good so far. Yeah, it's been chill mostly. Just kind of like taking care of things at home, I guess, taking care of my cats because I got two kitties, and
You're the 13th cat person I had on the show.
really,
Yes,
I was gonna say, yeah, cats are pretty popular, especially I feel like amongst people who a lot of our work is at home.
I understand, Madeline. I understand.
Mm.
I won't take away your lifestyle.
Are you a dog person?
No, I mean I don't have any pets. I just see so many cat people.
Oh
My
yeah.
parents don't like cats.
Oh, I see. Aw, cats are great. But yeah, I get it.
Well, if the small talk is over, I guess we can go ahead and get this thing started, shall we?
Sure.
All right, happy Friday, everybody. This is Phil. I'm host of the Conversation Podcast. Season 3 premiere continues. So I have a special guest with me here today. Introduce yourself. Who's Madeleine Norton I'm speaking to this Friday afternoon?
Yes, hi, it's me, Madeleine Norton. Predominantly a professional actress and voice actress.
There you go. There you go. Now, before we get into the main event, let's start with a little bit of an icebreaker. Now, is there one place you want to travel to, but you hadn't had a chance to? I probably already know the answer, but go ahead.
Yeah, you probably do. But I think one of the sorry, I'm like stopping myself because I was able to travel to a dream location. I'd love to go there again. I was able to go to Japan in October of last year, and that's where I'd want to go. Which I knew you knew, but I
Yes, I
also
knew.
love I also have always wanted to visit Iceland actually. Mostly just because of the nature and the surrounding areas and like the black sands and all the waterfalls and things like that. I think it'd be super cool. Um, Honestly, I'm down to travel anywhere. But yeah, I think Japan was probably number one, so I would love to go back.
Everybody's trying to get over there.
Oh gosh, I wonder why.
Well, because of the culture and everything. So I really can't be mad at you, Madeline. You're just trying
Is
to
that your dream
you're
place?
trying to go. I do want to go check out Japan too, but I also want to go check out Barcelona,
Oh
and
yeah.
I want to check out Singapore.
Oh, that would be super cool. Singapore seems awesome.
Hong Kong.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
Shanghai, of course.
Classic. Yeah. Oh my gosh. I feel like there are plenty. There's also some different like South American countries I'd like to visit. I'd love to visit Canada. Not been to Canada yet.
Well, I have a few friends that I interviewed who are in Canada.
Oh, really? That's so cool.
Yeah, I do want to go there too. My parents were actually there last month.
Oh, wow. Probably a lot nicer weather than here. Not by
Yeah,
much, but yeah.
yeah, they had a conference. The next conference is in California. So
Mm-hmm.
I was like,
That is what nice weather.
maybe I can go check out Anime Expo since it's on the same week as that.
Oh, wow. You should.
So I was like, I don't see why not. My sister's like, you get defeated so easily. Well,
Oh,
that's
no.
because of like I was like, I'm not going because it's expensive, okay? It's expensive. That's why I get
Yeah.
defeated so
Yeah.
easily, Madeline.
I mean, well, yeah, I think that's a reasonable reason to not be able to go because I think it's probably my reason too.
So, well, I hope I get there one of these days. But it's a work
Yeah.
in progress.
Mm-hmm.
So just gotta work on the saving money part.
Yeah.
That stuff. Well, now that the ice is broken, I guess we can get into that. So I have over 20 questions, but the way
Ooh.
I've done this is just I'm gonna try to combine it into two questions, like two part to three part questions, just to make it go
Mm.
faster. So
Got it.
I'm trying to do more of that going forward.
Mm.
So of course, we're always gonna start with the origin story, okay, Madeline? If you're okay with that.
Yes. No, but of course. It's it's a fun one, I think. Um yeah, I guess I started acting technically at like 6 years old. I was thrown into theater, and my grandmother was also a theater teacher and dance teacher. Um as well as having performed in some stuff herself. So I think there was a little bit of that background where, like my mom and dad were like, okay, we've already got somebody we know who's been involved in like the performing artistic world. So they were kind of throwing me and my younger brother at sort of any hobby, around that age, just seeing what kind of sticks. And theater definitely stuck. So I was doing a lot of theater, um, pretty much like right away. And my brother followed in my footsteps, and so we we were doing like two or three shows at a time as like little kids. And that kind of continued on. Eventually, I think my mom was like, "Oh, they really like this," and she started throwing us into like commercial work and film work, which my brother did a little bit more of than I did, but I did a little bit. And then we eventually got to where we'd auditioned for the Arts Magnet here in Dallas, since that's where I grew up. And we got into that, both of us, in our respective years, I guess. And I do remember, yeah, being like 13, 14 years old, being like, okay, I guess this is gonna be my career path. This is what I'm pursuing. And so I did. And then from there, I had also known of Funimation, had like grown up watching different TV shows, like animated shows and PBS, and predominantly like I want to say like Pokemon and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and some of the Ghibli movies. And that was always a dream for me, but I was sort of like, oh, I don't know how I'm going to do that. And I did get to know some of the other actors that were in Funimation at the time as like directors or mentors. Um, and that would be like, Chris Ramirez, Lydia Mackey, Anastasia Munoz. And I would end up kind of asking them towards the end of my high school career, sort of like, how do you do this? Like, how, and of course, as you probably know, like, as an actor, it's sort of like the connections and the audition, like, you kind of have to do it yourself. And so they were talking to me a lot about that and kind of hyping up my dreams. But I was in the mindset of like, okay, I gotta be I'll like pursue my theater career, then I'll be like middle-aged, and then somewhere in there I'll like maybe I'll get into voice acting, because that was my, I guess, preconception. And so I ended up going to college for acting as well. I went to a conservatory in Ohio, and I graduated in 2021, so there was a pandemic in there. And that ended up, I think, being a big reason why I was able to start pursuing voice acting at the capacity I started, I guess. I was able to kind of save up money, and I'm very lucky the guy that I was dating at the time was sort of like, hey, I'll help you like save up some money for like equipment and a microphone, because I was sort of getting, I guess, like burnt out a little bit from some of my theater stuff, and I still pursue theater now, so it's not like I'm completely done with it.
Is he still helping you? Is he still helping you today?
No, we're not. I'm not dating that guy anymore.
Oh, okay,
But
fine.
you know what? He was very helpful. We're on good terms. It's all chill.
Okay,
Right?
I didn't mean to open old wounds.
Oh, not at all, not at all. It is interesting. Yeah, I feel like I personally would have just, the way that I prioritize stuff is like, oh, this is what I have going on most immediately, so I'm going to focus all my attention on that. So I think if I hadn't had somebody kind of like helping me along as well, being like, hey, maybe you should also pursue this thing that you were really interested in pursuing, I probably would have been like, I don't have time for that. I'm busy writing and drawing and acting on the stage or whatever. But yes, I ended up getting my microphone and a little bit of equipment, and I made sort of like a promise to myself that it was right in the transitionary period where I was like finishing up school, and then I had like an online internship, and so I was like, I'm just gonna go home and do that. And so I was like, all right, I'm not gonna tell anybody, but I'm gonna start like working on voiceover stuff for like a straight year. I was like, let me see if I can learn how to audio edit, and maybe get some things under my belt, maybe get some demo stuff. And that's kind of what I did. So even with my parents, I was sort of like, yeah, I'm recording. I would never sort of specify what it was I was doing, but I was learning a lot during that time, and I think really able to apply myself into throwing auditions and stuff out there. Eventually, you know, I had my agent from, I guess, like when I was younger, and very luckily, I guess, because Dallas is an audio hub, which is also why I was like, well, it's very convenient to move back here. I had gotten a voiceover agent as I transitioned, I guess, into the adult division of my agency, and I'd kind of gotten some Crunchyroll auditions back and forth, but they sort of like solidified that I was submitting to them. And so then eventually, after a few years of auditioning, I got in through auditions, which I've heard is not the case as much anymore. But yeah, that was very like, I don't know. I was kind of geeking out a little bit, and
It's
I
okay to
still
geek out.
am. What'd you say?
I say it's okay to geek out.
Oh yeah, I'm definitely still geeking out now. I'm always like wanting to go back in and work with all the cool people there as much as I can. But yeah, I think it was so nice because I pretty immediately had a very positive response from the voiceover community, and like I guess the jobs that I was applying for, I had good luck with. And so it was very validating to be like, okay, this seems to be like going well. Let me like keep trying and working on this. And I want to say now, yeah, I predominantly work as a voice actress, but I am also doing professional theater in the area, and working in the the new, I'm laughing because I'm like, I haven't really talked about this much. I'm working at the Universal Resort that's opened here in Dallas most recently as well. So I'm like, I'm kind of trying to do it all if I can, and always stay busy to some capacity.
Well, being busy is an opportunity. Listen, any opportunity you have, every day you have a chance to work is a blessing.
I
So,
love working, so.
and plus you have to be, you gotta have many hats. Like I said before, with most of you guys on here, you guys have other careers besides voice acting.
Mm.
You know, that's the thing. Like, shoot, like if a show was finished, find something else to do.
You
Like,
got it.
until
Yeah,
something else
exactly.
comes up.
Everything's kind of ephemeral and very touch and go. Yeah.
touch and go situations. And guess what? Some of y'all are part of like all these like, these organizations, charities kind of thing. Y'all got your own studios out there in Dallas and California. So
Mm-hmm.
you go out there, go y'all still, but here's the thing, even though some of you guys are directors, you guys also do writing scripts and everything. So yeah, like find something to contribute to it as well. Don't just like do the voice acting. There's other stuff you could be doing as well to help out.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So some people just don't. I think you guys already know that.
No, I mean it's yeah, definitely to everyone's tastes, and sometimes yeah, some people want to focus on elements of that more often. It is very interesting to find out that there's some folks I've worked alongside who I do consider like awesome actors, and they're like, yeah, I really wanted to be able to work here because I want to be a director, or I really want to be like a script adapter and things like that, which I find is so cool. I'm just like, oh my gosh, we could be talented in so many things.
It exactly.
Hmm.
Lastly, and pretty much since you answered all of one, two, and three, let's
Nice.
go. Let's go on to the last question. Then we're going to the next section because I think the
Hmm.
next section is just going to be one question. Okay, because pretty much it's
Ooh.
saying the same stuff that you just explained, pretty much. So,
Yeah, no worries.
um, voice acting is about much more than changing your voice. How would you describe your approach to creating a character from the ground up?
Ooh, working on a character from the ground up?
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, I think the biggest thing for me is probably getting as much media as I can. If we're talking at least about like the anime characters, typically there's going to be a little bit of content out there already, which I find very helpful because I love being able to get my hands on as much as I can before I actually go in. There have been some instances of shows that are releasing at the same time in which I don't really have a chance to look into that stuff as much, just depending on the character. And I know that I could be doing more because I know there's some friends of mine who will take the time to find the manga and like try to catch up and read until they find their character and like analyze through like the actual manga itself, I guess, which sometimes I just don't have time for, though I would love to do that. So sometimes I find just doing the research online, if there's episodes out, I will definitely watch those. And I think a lot of it is also it's way more kind of on the fly than I initially thought it to be. And so going in, oftentimes I'm sort of getting an analysis from the director, and we'll be talking about the character and maybe how we want the voice to sound. And I do kind of like finding the character as we're doing it too, where I know the basic overlay of like who the character is and what their goals are. Um, but yeah, I think the only one where I really was able to spend a lot more time studying them was Seraphina in Warrior Princess and Barbaric King, since she was the lead and there was a lot of stuff out already since the manga had been going for a while. I was able to do some more research on her than I typically would. But yeah, I feel like I'll also look into the voice actor. If the audio is already out in the Japanese, I'll look up that person and their like kind of history and the voices that they've done. And yeah, I think ultimately a lot of it outside of that research is kind of figuring out the character when we're in there, since a lot of it is kind of cold reading, which is, it's stressful but also fun.
Well, dang, you have tight deadlines. There's not a lot of time to
Yeah.
research certain characters, and you just like,
Yeah.
all right, looks like it's chapter time, so we're just gonna have to wing it. And like, and I
Sometimes it's
said
a
this
much,
so many
yeah.
times, and I said this so many times in the previous episodes. If y'all got time to research, then research. If y'all don't, y'all just do the best y'all can.
Definitely, yeah. We unfortunately, I remember that actually. I was sitting in watching Dan whenever it was in theaters and they were releasing the first three episodes. And we were watching it in the Japanese. And it was so interesting because they did sort of a behind the scenes overview before we actually watched the episode. Or I guess like the three episode special. And it was just like baffling, but not baffling. It made sense to hear that the Japanese actors were like, we're gonna go out and like read through the whole script. You know, like they get like an overview, or at least in this case they did. And they were like, we went out a couple times to get like coffee with the manga artist and like talk to them about their vision and how they viewed the characters. And then with the director and kind of like working the scenes, whereas way more theatrical in its process, I guess. And I was like, man, I wish that'd be so cool if we got the time to do all that stuff. And so that's why I think I do have, obviously, I have more of an appreciation for what people like me are doing. But I think the more that I've learned about the process, the more involved I've been in the process. I'm still like baffled sometimes at how much people can throw into their characters and how much they can give towards the role with as little notice as they have. And so I guess I just have more of an appreciation for that, and it definitely makes me want to like work harder and do that kind of stuff, either on the sidelines if I can, or maybe collaborate more with people to get more of like get deeper into those characters.
Wait, sometimes you got to go through the pressures to get more opportunities, right?
Yeah.
That's the trick to it. So it doesn't really phase you as much these days, does it?
Not nearly as much. I think I'll
Nope.
definitely still get nervous if it's with a director I haven't worked with before, or on maybe a larger property that I've not worked on before. And I think that's where some of those nerves come in now. And I always want to do a good job. I've got a little bit of the perfectionist syndrome, so I always want to like do the best that I can, which is not a problem. I think it's not a bad thing within reason. But yeah, I think those are the times I'll get nervous, or if I really care about the media, like I've consumed it already, or I've been a fan of it before, and then I'm going in, I'm like, I want to do a good job. But other than
Okay.
that, yeah, I do feel like it's becoming kind of second nature. I feel a lot more acclimated to hopping in.
Well, hey, once you get used to it, doesn't phase you no more. So
Yeah.
you get it. So all right, we're on to the next one, the art behind the performance. This is gonna be like a one question, okay?
Ooh.
Now, you've worked across action, fantasy, romance, and slice of life stories. Now, how do you shift your mindset between genres while still making every character feel authentic?
Ooh, that's a good question. I was gonna say it's so funny because I feel like with some of the very over the top shows, it doesn't feel as authentic, and yet I'm like, I do feel more enveloped in the character sometimes because I come from a predominantly comedic background, and so that's where I feel like I thrive, sort of with the zany, silly characters. Um, that's a good question. I definitely like all of those, and some of the shows definitely have a little bit more elements of those genres than others. I think, at least with the slice of life and the fantasy, I do think a lot of the theater background helps with that. And the theater background helps a lot with anime in general, just because a lot of it can be very heightened. Um, and I've talked to a couple of the directors about this, where there is more of a leniency for them to tap into using their pool of actors who I guess have the theater background, just because they can kind of throw something at them, and the theater actors will like go big or go home, and then they can always like pull them back. And so I found that I'll have like balances between that, or I'll have to find that in the booth sometimes with a director, where they're like, okay, actually this character is, like a little bit more somber here, let's pull it back. But for fantasy and slice of life, I feel like I can kind of get away with
Hmm.
being a little bit more silly and kind of mimicking, I guess, like the Japanese performance a little bit more. I want to say like romance and like the more down to earth stuff is relatively new for me, and it's something that I really wanted to get into. It was like a goal of mine actually this year, that I was like, I will be in a romance at some point. I'm hoping for it, whether that's like any capacity. So I did not expect to be in a romance as a lead this soon, which was very exciting. Um, and even though it's predominantly, I want to say, slice of life action, there's still like a big part of it being romance. And I do like that there are elements, at least in the show that I did, where it's very silly situations. And so it's romantic, but it's also got, like over the top bits where my character is freaking out a majority of the time. But in those more like withdrawn moments, those more somber moments, I often, it's very interesting, I would get those characters a lot at the very beginning of my career at Crunchyroll. I think because I had done auditions and whatnot, and I've got this lower, deeper voice, that a lot of the stuff I was working at first was more based on how my voice, I think, sounded. And so I was voicing a lot of these characters who were way more middle of the road, like straight man, or like, you know, there's somebody who's giving exposition, is very warm and like maybe motherly. And those roles are very fun, but sometimes I'll actually overthink them because I'm so used to spending a lot of time like being zany or going back and forth on my emotions, that when I do have to be more withdrawn and sound a little bit more like myself, sometimes, or at least at first, I will leave the session being like, man, I don't feel like I gave my all to that, or I don't know if I really acted my butt off on that as much as I usually do, where I was like, I feel like I wasn't giving as much. But then I'll have like positive responses from people who've either watched the show or were working with me during that process, being like, no, that was great. And I'll be like, okay, I guess I'm very used to being zany and silly. And I did have one of my theater shows that I did, I guess, a year or two ago. I can't believe it. Time moves so fast. That several of the Crunchyroll directors were able to hop in and watch. And I feel like from there, several of them, including Caitlin Glass and Lee George, were like, oh, I didn't know you're like a silly little guy. You like being silly and zany. And I had no idea. And I am very grateful to, I think, the fact that I was able to get exposed in that way, that they were able to see me do that. Because I think from there, a lot of the stuff that I have done for both those directors, at least, has been silly, zany stuff, which I'm just like, yes, I love it. Give me more. And I do think that really helped me kind of snag my first lead with Caitlin, at least, in that the character is she's very strong and like put together, but a lot of the show she is kind of in over her head. And I think it allows for more play. Maybe that's where I'm going out with that. Like the more withdrawn stuff, I can tap into it very easily and I'll get done with it relatively quickly. And from there, I'll be like, I'm used to like maybe getting some more direction, and we kind of like workshop it. And so sometimes I'll be like, I don't know if I did as good a job. And sometimes when I have the zany stuff and I'm working back and forth and we're trying to figure it out, I'll feel like maybe I've done more. So I'm kind of contesting with myself in that and kind of getting better at being able to be like, no, those are different genres. Those are different types of voices. And, you know, the way that you kind of tap into that is different. But yeah, hopefully that helps a little.
No, it's okay. I want you to preach these things. I want to know. I want to know everything inside that brain of yours.
There's a lot going on all the time.
Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah, you know, I think I've seen, and I'm glad, you know, and yes, you know, sometimes, you know, all those stories, like, let me say this, Madeleine, you're here to tell stories no matter what genre it is.
Very
And
true. That's at
and
the
I,
basis of everything.
you know, I listen, I had plans to see, you know, I'm trying to meet Caitlin Glass again after 2 years, but looks like it's not going to happen
Yeah,
because
she's
my
a
home,
busy lady. She is a
yeah,
busy lady.
my hometown just canceled canceled the convention here for unknown
No, I'm
reasons,
so
and she was supposed to
sorry.
be here so I can like try to talk to her at a later date.
No.
But looks like that's not going to be happening. So
If
I'm
it
back
makes
to
you feel
square one.
better, I feel like she really loves going to conventions and chatting with people. So I feel like that's not going to go away anytime soon for her. So hopefully there'll be another chance for you guys to meet up again.
Well, yeah, that, and I just want to have like a one-on-one genuine conversation with her.
Oh,
That's all
yeah.
I'm asking. Just one time. Even if it's just the one time, I'll take it. But I don't want to talk about, I want to talk about you today. You
No
know,
worries. I'm also like starstruck by Caitlin. I love her. She's awesome.
I got you. But yeah, and I know like, you know, those experiences when you have to work like on those like slice of life stories, and you know,
Mhm.
sometimes you have to change like your like, you know, emotions in different genres too. It's kind of
Yeah.
like the same thing when you have to change your voices for like in a video game, TV show, and movie,
Oh,
so you can
yeah.
make it sound like real life kind of
Yeah.
situations.
The way
Because
I think about it is like an audience, like how far the audience is away from you, how close they are. It can kind of determine like what like level, you're kind of tapping into that. But yeah, what were you
That
gonna say?
and also these stories also have a lot of life lessons that we don't pay attention to. As kids, we don't
Mhm.
understand as much, but as young adults,
Mhm.
we
Be like,
start to
oh yeah,
understand.
okay, sure.
Yeah, and
As an
listen,
adult, you're like, wait,
I
this is
try
so
to look
relevant.
I try to look for context clues when I watch stuff now.
Yeah.
So I mean, I still want to have fun while I'm watching it, but
Yeah, exactly.
I
Depends
just
on the show you're watching.
I just want to just make sure I'm paying attention, Madeline.
Hmm.
That way I can be able to talk to you guys about these things.
Nice.
So hope you don't mind me being analytical on stuff.
No, I mean that's how I am. Hopefully, if my however many minutes long speech was about any of that stuff I talked about before, you'll know that I'm pretty analytical about stuff too.
Okay, I gotcha. Well, now we're on the next session, which is your favorite character deep dives.
Ooh,
So there's another character deep dive later, but I'll tell you this. It's a surprise. I'll tell you when we get to the end here.
oh, I'm excited! Yeah.
So you'll like it because actually I don't want to spoil it. Let's just get into it
Okay, yeah.
because I'm getting close to saying what it is. Um, let's see. So in The Warrior Princess and Barbaric King, you
Hmm.
voice Serafina de Lavilliant. I got it right. What immediately stood out to you about her, and what was most rewarding about part of bringing her to life?
Oh, the most rewarding part?
Yeah.
I think definitely the biggest challenge at first was finding her voice. And I, as somebody with like typically a deeper sounding voice, I was hyper fixated on the fact that she yells a lot, she changes in pitch a lot, and that within my first session they were interested in me using the upper range that I have. And so I definitely had worked on, for I want to say these last couple years that I've been doing Crunchyroll, just kind of focusing on how to heighten my range, I guess, and sound at least more believable in that. So working on all the different elements, but the stuff that I was working on internally, like myself, was how I could believably touch on those higher notes, I guess, sound a little bit maybe younger.
Right.
And so that was definitely a test in that. And it started becoming more natural the more I was doing it. Because I don't have like a super low voice. I can just tap into that lower range. Um, but I want to say I'm speaking at more of like a kind of middle tone female voice. I could just go like go down. And so that was something that was difficult at first, but it became more natural as we were kind of working on her more. Or I guess, it was easier than I thought it was going to be. I had definitely overthought it and was getting in my head, and I'd watch the episodes over and over before I went in, being like, how am I going to scream at that point? What am I going to do here? Because there's also elements of like, okay, the director chose me for this. Like, I need to like still prove myself and show that they like made the right choice and do right by them. But then I want to say some of the most fun parts were definitely like kind of what we briefly touched on before, I guess, with the um, her getting zany, I guess, with the food or the sexual situations or the romance of her kind of figuring out how she feels about the Barbaric King in question, and also just being able to be like, this is a whole new world. I'm meeting new like fairy tale races for the first time and dragons, and oh, this food is amazing, which is so fun. To be playing a character that's always discovering something. And also I think the show itself I really really enjoyed because of it being focused on like throwing away your preconceptions and your prejudices and learning more about like another culture, and realizing that at least like from the humane side of things, that like humans are not so different from each other. And
Yeah.
I thought that was very fun. I was like, oh, I really like this show for that. That is so fun that it taps into a lot of that. So I feel like it was a challenge because I know I hadn't done a lot of romance stuff in the most recent years. I've definitely done like played romantic leads and things in the past, but from a voice acting perspective, it is not something I've spent as much time on. And I was very lucky that I was with directors and engineers who made me feel really comfortable in the room, since a lot of it is just you by yourself. And I'm very lucky too that the guy I played opposite, Chris George, is so chill and he's so nice. And he and I really made an effort to like reach out and be buddy buddy and be like, oh my gosh, you see the new episode's out, and oh, we should make like a joint print and that'd be fun. So it did feel like, you know, I got to where I was very excited to hear like his voice if he had gone in first, and we might leave each other like silly little bloopers for whoever like went in first for the session, which is so fun. I wish we could have like a little like recording of all of our little blooper bits that we did during our recording sessions. But everybody in there with me made it very fun. And of course the show itself was very fun. And so it became something I really looked forward to. And so it started off as something, you know, I was nervous about doing a good enough job. And it just became me being like, when am I going back in? I want to go back in again. And who am I working with this time? And I would tell people it was sort of like the grass is always greener in a good way, where the more and more time that I have gotten to spend inside of Crunchyroll working, the more that I want. And so I was like, oh my gosh, I got really spoiled playing this lead who's like thinking and talking all the time because I'm going in often. And then being away from that, being like, okay, taking a breather. I'm like, man, I got really lucky getting to do that so often. I can't wait for the next chance to do that. But I feel like that role especially was such an awesome one to have as like a first lead, just because she had all those layers and she was so silly and fun to watch, and the show was very enjoyable, and the people I worked with were very fun, very talented, and they helped make me feel safe and comfortable, and we had fun in the booth. So I'm very lucky.
Well, if you're not comfortable, then the show's not gonna be good.
Exactly.
And plus,
exactly.
we need all those layers inside of a character like that. We want to explore all our personalities. I've seen a few clips of the show. I think it's very interesting. So it's really
It is
good.
so silly. It is so over the top.
And so I might need to go back and watch for real. I'm just adding stuff to my watch list to check out. So, onward to the next one. Now, you also voice Grimory in an Archdemon's Dilemma: How to Love Your Elf Bride. Now, fantasy worlds often have larger than life personalities. How much room do you have to experiment before finding the voice that, you know, clicks?
Oh, that one, I feel like it was my, I want to say like second, or no, it was my first named role ever. And it was my second sort of recurring role that came in. I'd played a Gorgon sister in Tsukimichi Moonlit Fantasy with Jerry Jewell as well, and he directed this one. And so it was the first time I was being called in right as a show was starting, which I had never done before.
Right.
So I was able to kind of get that time, actually, because I want to say that I got the ask, like they had sent me the email telling me that was the role I was going to play either a week or two before the recordings actually happened. So I was able to do a little bit of analysis on her, and that was interesting too, because it's another show that has been out for a little while, not the anime, I guess, but the manga series. And her character becomes a lot more prevalent and involved after the first season, which is so funny. So she was just sort of like there in the background, sort of hinting at the fact that like she was going to do something or become more important later. And it's only been one season. If there's a second season, which I hope there is, she'd be way more involved, because she ends up becoming sort of the right-hand man to the lead character, the Archdemon, and has like a past with the romantic lead, Neffy, the elf bride. And I guess, her image is it speaks a lot to me. I think that's where I kind of find a lot of it, is how the character looks than how it sounds in the Japanese. And I was very excited too, because she hasn't done it yet, and maybe if there's another season we'll see it, but she is a shapeshifter in terms of like her chronological age. And so she will shift between being like a little girl and an old woman. which I'm kind of glad that I maybe haven't done yet, because I feel like I could tap into that a little bit better now, having more voiceover experience than when I got the role initially. But if that ever happens, it's like, oh, she's got all these layers to her too. So that was an interesting part, finding out about her character, because I was like, okay, there needs to be the middle ground where she is herself, her like maybe 30s, 40s-year-old self. And she's also got like a husband, and they like dote upon each other, but she kind of comes off as sort of conniving. And so I was just getting these little hints of who she was, where she comes off as maybe like you think she's going to be evil, but really she's just like a gossip and very silly. And so a lot of the roles that or not the roles, I guess, the lines that I had in the couple of episodes I was in were very like, ooh, who's this man? Well, very interesting. Let's see what happens. Ha 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 ha. And so I was kind of playing into that at first. And I think that's kind of where I found her voice. Ultimately, I think that a lot of the directors, though, will bring in people based on how they sound at a baseline. And so that was something I was definitely told a lot before I started working with Crunchyroll, where they were like, hey, just know, usually they're going to want to work with you based on how your voice itself sounds. And maybe, you're putting on a little bit more, like I will put on a little bit more of like a deeper, more mature sounding voice. But at a baseline, it's still me. So that's kind of what we ended up doing with that. And a lot of the times, if the director doesn't say anything and they have you keep going, you're like, all right, I think that seems to be what's working.
Well, hey, we don't want you to be another person, Malay. If just be yourself. Don't be trying to be someone that you're not. Have you not learned? Have you watched that movie How to Train Your Dragon in
Oh, I
2010?
love it. I love
So
that
if
movie.
you remember what Garber was telling Hiccup, sure. The point I'm trying to say is stop trying so hard to be something that you're not.
Yeah.
So yeah, Madeline, just you're doing a good job just being yourself in these shows. So
Trying my best.
and I like and I like that. Please don't change your style. Please don't do that.
Aw, thank you. Well, it'd be kind of difficult too, I think. There's only so much I can do to change my voice.
Well, hey, it's working. So last question, and then we'll be on to the secret section, okay? Because
Ooh,
I want
yeah.
to throw in a little game for you to figure out, okay?
Ooh, I love
Okay.
games.
Okay. Now, whether it's Black Butler,
Mhm.
Emerald Witch Arc, Annie Shirley, or Makeine, Too Many Losing Heroines, each project has a completely different tone. Now, is there one role that challenged you in a way you didn't expect?
Hmm. Yes, I will say Black Butler was kind of my first time playing a character with sort of these sexual situations happening where she's like, yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
you know. And I was very, like I was so nervous at first because it was also my first time working with Caitlin, so I wanted to do a good job. Um,
Too many
but I think
expectations.
right, right. Well, I think full sending it was the best way to go, and that's kind of in my mind. That's what I wanted to do. Where I was like, okay, this is the scene, and I think it's going to be way better to just like go big or go home than like not do enough and have to like work up to it. And I think that ultimately really helped me. Um, and also be able to be like, okay, we kind of understood each other, like, oh yeah, this is what I want, and oh, I'm so glad that you kind of like went on the journey and went full ham with me. That's what I wanted. And so we were able to kind of like be on the same like mind link, work together. And then what'd you say, Aunt Shirley was way more like laid back, not like laid back like it was easy, but the performances were way more down to earth. It was a lot more realistic acting styles, way more almost kind of like on camera work. And I also, that was one where I had been very excited, really hopeful that I could be a part of that process. I guess like being in the show, because I had like read it when I was younger and I loved the story and I knew it. And that doesn't really happen often, I think, with anime, where it's like, oh, I grew up on this one. Because typically it's like, okay, you grew up on it, it's because you watched the show, it's already out, it's already happened. That doesn't happen very often, that we get like a rendition. And so I was very happy to be playing a character that was more, I don't know, she had some really cool stuff with Anne Shirley. I think I was telling somebody else the other day that she has like a scene talking about Anne's loss of her father figure, Matthew. It's sort of her first time dealing with the grief of death and losing somebody that you love, and getting to be in the scene where I talked about like how she's processing it and helping her through it was like, oh my gosh, this is so cool. I hope I do a good job. And being way more kind of tapping into more of my own personal real world experiences for that one, I think helped a lot. Because it was like my character was often giving advice or being very kind and doting on like the little kiddos, you know, as they're growing up, and I'm also like a teacher, and I work with people and kiddos predominantly for like performing arts and visual arts. And so I think I was able to tap into a lot of that with like working with kiddos and being like, hey, it's okay. Like, this is what we're going to do next. Or, oh, you're processing this emotion. Let's like work through it. So I tapped into maybe a little bit more real life experience for that one. And then, yeah, for Makeine, oh my gosh, that was the first one that I did with Helena, and first time working with her, and also first kind of big recurring role I was not expecting, and it was such an awesome show to be a part of. That one also was kind of in both realms, because my character was kind of zany, and she'd have moments where she was the silly one and everybody else is like, okay, calm down. But then there were also those very, very down-to-earth moments, too, where she's talking to the guy she likes, or she's talking to the lead, I guess, towards the end of the school year about his feelings and about their relationships with a big part of, I guess, her arc with the other characters is that she's in love with a guy, and one of the losing heroines is in love with the same guy. And so they're friends, and they're kind of contesting their love for this guy as well as their relationship, and how they're navigating that is something that Nukumizu, I guess, is sort of on the outskirts of the lead, just kind of like watching. So that was interesting, going from like, okay, this character, she's like obsessed with BL, she is creating these stories and putting people in ridiculous situations because she's just kind of flying by the seat of her pants most of the time. But then she also has parts where, you know, she is kind of the voice of reason, or she's still sort of the leader in the situation because she's an upperclassman. So that was very interesting, I guess, going back and forth. And so that was one I was going to say, connecting to what I said earlier, where a director might be like, hey, let's tone it back on this part, or hey, let's kind of be a little bit more zany here. We did a lot. At least Helena and I did a lot for that show. And I'm so excited it's coming back for a second season. It cannot come back soon enough. I'm very excited because I know Koto has like one more big arc, as she used to be a member of the student body, you know, Stuco. And then she ended up starting the literature club, or being a part of the literature club that all of the leading characters are in. And then she graduates and leaves, and so I'm very excited to kind of touch on that and be like, oh, I've gotten really attached to this character. Let's see what more we can bring to it now that I have a little bit more experience. And yeah, we'll see.
Okay, well, sure. I can't wait to see what you do next.
Yeah.
So I just had to ask all those different animes because this is different tones.
Oh
And I
yeah.
want to see how you explore those different tones because
Oh yeah.
people are going to be expecting different styles that you do.
Mm-hmm. Or seeing
So
if you can do it. Yeah.
it exactly. All right, so now we're on to the secret section. Now, it's been 10 years since this anime came out. Can you guess what it is?
Oh my gosh. Wait. No, which one?
I can't tell you. You gotta figure it out. Come on.
Well, there's so many. 10 years since like it released.
Mm-hmm.
Oh gosh. Well, I mean, I figured we were going to talk about My Hero. Is it 10 years since My Hero's been out? It doesn't feel like it. Maybe it has
Yes.
been. It
Yes,
has
you
been
got it
10
right.
years?
You got it right.
Man,
I wanted to test that
crazy.
out, see if
I
she
could
could
see
figure it
that was
out.
my first thought, but then I was like, no. But since it's first started releasing, yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I
It's been
started
10
watching it when it
years.
started releasing.
It's been 10 years. I know you haven't seen my profile, but I did meet Justin Briner and Clifford Chapin last
Oh my
month.
gosh, he's so cool. I haven't met him in person yet, but we follow each other online and his posts are so silly. He's such a silly guy.
Yeah, so I'm working on trying to talk to him later. But
Oh
yes,
yeah.
that was the mystery section we're about to get into. I was like, let's test her knowledge right
My
quick. See,
hero. Oh yeah.
let's test her knowledge, see if she really gets it.
Oh yeah. Well,
So
I'm glad I passed the first test.
there you go. So this next section is called My Hero Academia, the 10th anniversary spotlight.
Ooh.
So this year marks the 10th anniversary of the My Hero Academia anime, and you joined the story as Toshie Yagi, All Might's
Yeah.
mother.
Yeah, very briefly, very
Yeah.
briefly. I would love to see if maybe some offshoot thing there's more of her character, but she's in
Mhm.
there.
Yeah. During the final season. Now, what was your reaction when you found out you be voicing someone who's closely connected to one of anime's most beloved heroes?
I know. Man, I'm still like so baffled. The crazy thing is, I had no idea what I was going in for. I just knew that I was going in for my hero, and I was so excited. I knew it was a very short tidbit, and that their stuff released kind of at the same time, so I had no idea what it was going to be. And
Hmm.
I think I was called in for maybe a like 15 or 30-minute session, so I figured like, okay, maybe I'm some like townsperson talking to Izuku or something like that, or and I just sort of was like, I have no idea. So I went in, and I was actually with Aaron Campbell, who I did a lot of work with in Warrior Princess,
Yeah, I
and
met
he's
him
a cool
2 years
dude.
ago, a year ago now.
Yeah, he's such a
Back in
chill dude.
2025.
He's so
February
fun.
2025 is when I met him.
I love that guy. He's awesome. But yeah, I walked in, and he and the engineer were both like, "Hey, what's up?" And I was like, "Oh my gosh, I'm so excited to work with you." That was my first time working with him, and he was like, "Are you ready to the role we have you in? Do you know who you're playing?" And I was like, "No, am I playing somebody?" And he was like, "Yeah, you ready to be All Might's mom?" And I was like, "No, why?" So we actually kind of all geeked together in the room, like as a. So I was like, "Are you kidding me?" But it was awesome because she really just, kind of laughs, and it's very clearly an important enough part of the story and All Might's background, where his mother was like a shining light of like positivity and a positive memory, at least for him. And you see how his whole thing is like smiling and positivity, and you see that kind of like with his mother in that moment, and especially since it's a flashback, if I'm not mistaken,
Yeah,
when
it's a flashback.
he's getting beaten the tar out of him. Like he's getting beaten up. He's having this like hardcore fight, and he's remembering back this moment. Um, and so it was really cool that like the people that I was in the room with, that I was working with, we were all like smiling and laughing and happy. And then he was like, "All right, could you do some like laughs for me?" And so I was like, "Oh wow, this is so difficult. I have such a hard time smiling and laughing and being joyful." And so it just like came naturally. It was very fun. We did several passes of that, and they were sort of like, "Yeah, there's like a singing segment. We'll see if like we call you in later to maybe you might be singing or something," which was very, nothing in that respect has like happened yet or will happen, as far as I know. But it was very cool to be like, wow, I'm so interested to see what happens here. That is kind of the toss up that you get with voice acting sometimes with dubbing, I guess, where you're like, that could be it for my character. Maybe they'll come in again. Who knows? So it was just sort of like living in the high of the moment of like, wow, I got to go in and do that, and I cannot wait to release it. And it was so cool that the day the episode came out was on my birthday, and so I just made sort of like a birthday post being like, surprise, it's out. But I think it's so funny because I'm like, I really feel like I didn't do anything because I just kind of like laughed and had a good time and that was it. But the character is very influential and predominantly it's because the show itself is so influential. And um, I think the biggest takeaway is getting to be a part of the legacy anime that is My Hero at any capacity is just very, very cool. So I'm just very grateful that I got to do that.
Hey, anytime you get an opportunity to work with a franchise like My Hero Academia, I'll take the
Mhm.
opportunity. If it's not a big one, I'll still take it.
Oh yeah, I want to do whatever I'm brought in for. It does not matter, but I especially get nervous and excited and hopeful when those kinds of things arise. That stuff is very cool.
Sweet. Well, I enjoyed the episode because All Might was on death's door,
Yeah,
and we got to see here's the backstories.
the
They have a lot
vulnerability.
of of emotions and everything.
Mhm.
So when I watched the scene with his mother, I was like, he was trying to remember how this all began for me.
Yeah,
So
it's
did you
so
cry?
cute.
Did you cry? Did you cry a little bit?
I definitely have while watching My Hero. Definitely, yeah. I
It's
have to
okay.
admit, I haven't seen the entire last season yet because I've been sort of like whatever like inching like like it's the end, so I'm sort of like sometimes when something I like watching is towards the end of its run I'll take forever finishing it because
Yeah,
I'm like no then it's
my
over.
dad's the same way. He doesn't want the show to end. But I was like, but you still
Hmm.
got the spin-off Vigilantes, and it's
Yeah,
still a good
oh
show.
yeah, and they're still making like more and the than like the
Mm.
uh yeah, I guess like it seems like the spin-offs there's other elements that people love about the show that they can maybe like continue on with, vigilantes being one.
Well,
um
because I know they're still doing the spin-off Vigilantes. They haven't
Oh
announced
yeah.
season three yet.
Oh yeah, it's awesome.
I don't understand why they haven't announced season three yet. Usually they do it after the season's over. We'll have to see. But after the show, I talked to Jack like
Mm,
almost a year now since saying like, are there really any more stories left to tell since this show's over?
mm.
Because they could do a movie with Deku in his new suit as an adult. But I
Yeah.
was like, are there really any more stories to tell at this point?
Yeah.
Yeah, not really.
Or it starts off by him being like, "This is how I became the world's greatest hero," and you're like, "Oh, there you go."
Oh, we'll see what happens these next few months. So
Hmm.
you'd be
Never know.
surprised.
You never know.
All right. Onward to the next one about Toshi. I'm making this a big moment since it's the 10th anniversary of the show, okay?
Yeah.
So I put like a lot of questions and thoughts into this, okay?
Ooh. Okay.
So now listen, Toshi only has a few scenes. She does, but I keep telling people don't underestimate the side characters because they
Mm.
play a pivotal part in this show.
Hmm.
Yet she carries tremendous emotional weight because she's part of the foundation that shaped All Might. Now,
Yeah.
how did you approach making such a brief appearance feel meaningful?
I guess yeah. The I'm very lucky that because her moment was predominantly like motherly, which is stuff that I had done before, was like, laughing and having a good time, which tends to come relatively easy for me, or at least from a genuine place. It did feel very genuine in the moment because I already was like, oh, this is so cute. And I was attached to the media itself already. Like, I cared about My Hero and I love All Might. And so I think it was very easy to tap into making it feel genuine, I guess, because I cared about the media. I thought it was super cute, and my character was like laughing and having a good time and being sweet, and all those things make me feel good. And they so definitely a lot easier to do than if I was playing a character who was evil or being mean. Um, so it did feel like it was a relatively easy situation. And then obviously the people in the booth with me helped make that very easy, like cracking jokes and being lighthearted and having a good time. So it did feel like it came from a very genuine place, and hopefully that came across.
Well, it needs to come from a genuine place. That's the part
Oh
about these
yeah.
emotional scenes in these shows, TV shows. Listen, not just anime, but also regular TV shows as well. Like, shoot. Like I just recently watched the Spider-Man movie last
Oh, I still haven't seen
weekend.
it yet, but I
Oh,
know it's so good.
oh, you don't want to spoil it. I was going to give an example or something. You don't want to
No.
spoil it?
Give an example for the audience. I'll close my ears.
Okay, you got your ears covered. Okay, so spoilers. And sorry to people who are just hearing this. That part where you had, Jean going in the scene, talking to talking to Peter inside his mind, but Aunt May was trying to like, have one of those moments because Aunt May is dead because she died in Spider-Man No Way Home. So when he got inside his head, she was like, she felt sorry for Peter that he lost his hand. Now she's carrying like the emotional responsibility. That scene, even though that actor was in one scene, is still an emotional part of the movie. Same thing with goes back to My Hero Academia. Even though, oh, All Might's mother was in that one scene with in that even though All My Smiles in that one scene with his backstory, it's still an emotional part because it's explaining how it all began for him, and he's like, why did I start this in the first place?
Did you finish?
I finished.
I'll find out soon enough. I need to go and watch that.
Okay. But you see where I'm going with this, right? Even though you didn't hear a word I
Oh
was
yeah,
saying.
I can kind of figure what you're talking about. Yeah.
Okay, good. But yeah, if like I said before, scenes that have short amount of time can still play a major part throughout the
Yeah.
rest of the movie or show. So with All
Oh
Might's
yeah.
mother, yeah, she played a very important part.
Oh yeah. You think about like one of my favorites, Attack on Titan. It's like the first episode, just the stuff with his mom is like a huge motivator for Eren, like the whole rest of the series. So sometimes stuff like that, yeah, is very pivotal. I love that kind of stuff. The
Hmm.
inciting incident.
Yeah. So but yes, I enjoyed that scene. I think more stuff needs to happen like that, even though they
I
don't get a little bit of
know.
screen
I
time.
want
But
more
they
backstory on All Might. I love his backstory.
so I hope now if they manage to do something, we'll have to see. I got no
Yeah.
control over it, so
Yeah.
we'll see what happens.
Hmm.
Um, Next up, now as an actor, did you spend time imagining Toshie's life, but beyond what was written in the script, what kind of mother she
Yeah.
was, or the value she passed on to young Toshinori?
Definitely the latter thing you said was probably the biggest one of like who this person is to influence him this way and who he's to become. I mean, a lot of his flashbacks are based on that. Predominantly, I want to say like the different women in his life who've like made a positive impact on him. But just in general, um, yeah, I want to say it was interesting and difficult too. Yes, yeah, pretty much we all know about as much about her as that scene. That's kind of it. Um, and I was definitely like intaking whatever media I could of like fan art other people had made and the art that the artist himself had made of both of them for like the release of like one of the mangas, I guess,
Yeah,
or the episode, where they're like holding each other. It's so cute. And that actually, I feel like there was some fan art out already.
I've seen a
Um,
few. They're really good.
there's definitely more out now, but at least with some of the art that was out at the time, it was actually a very good basis of imagining what other kind of moments there might have been with the characters, with like like getting him ready for school or like helping him. Like predominantly, it's been reading the book, and singing together, but there were other moments, I guess, that people would visualize of him like asleep on her shoulder and things like that, where it just kind of like breathed more life into the character of like what their life together might have been like. So I think actually, honestly, the fan art was a very helpful thing in being able to kind of touch into her background. I love it. I love it. Fan art is
Mm.
awesome.
I was gonna ask you, I was gonna ask if you go to conventions. I don't know if you go to conventions these days,
Yeah,
but
I haven't been invited to like an official convention. I've been to signings, but I've been to some conventions as like a guest or a panelist. Yeah.
have you had anyone sell any artwork for you to like get printed or have at your table or whatnot? Or
Ooh, well, I've definitely commissioned artists to make art of my characters. And I do have one for Toshi because I was like, this is a big enough franchise and the character's recognizable that I was like, I'd really love to have some art of her. And it's a big print too. I would like to get a holographic version of it. So I think that'd be fun. But it's one with let's see. I'll try and see if I can pull it up on my phone because I love how it looks. It's so pretty. Um
yeah. Oh, which if you I think I could try to guess before you pull up. Is it the one where it's all white and Toshie's at the bottom, and Toshie's at top, and then All Might's at the bottom, kind of thing, with her hair in the back, kind of thing.
Yeah, like there's like sakura blossoms like blowing
Is
and it
that the
looks very
one?
scenic. It is that
Yep,
one.
I got it right. I got it right. See, I told you I would
Yeah.
figure it out before you pulled it up.
Yeah, it looks like this.
Yeah, that's the one. That's the one.
It's so cute. I love it so much. And the artist is amazing. It's Tama Draws, and she's awesome. But yes, no, I have actually had, I think the last convention I was at as a panelist, I also voiced young Stanley Snyder in Dr. Stone, and it was super fun. There's a couple of people who they really love Stanley. Understandable. I love Stanley too. I'm a big fan, and I'm a little biased, of course, but he's definitely my favorite, I think, in the show so far. And I need to watch more of the show. But they came and they had actually commissioned somebody to make art of the character, or I think they had their partner draw the character. Oh yes, I remember now. I was doing a bit of a GoFundMe moment for like my kitty cat, just for like vet costs and things like that, and they like helped spread awareness for that, and they were raising the money, and they ended up having an artist actually draw Stanley with like my cat, and so they brought like art of that, and they had me sign it, and they gave me one. And that was so cool. And I was like, can we get a photo? I would love that. And they were like, oh, I guess they were like, I felt like, like, I was worried that I was like too awkward, or that like, I didn't want to like bother you with it. And I was like, are you kidding? I love that stuff. And I was so glad that I got to see them, and we got to take photos together, and we still keep in touch, and hopefully we'll see each other at another convention soon. But I have that art on my wall, and it speaks so much to me. And that stuff is so cool. And I know that plenty of actors have that kind of experience as they get bigger and more well known. So I'm just hoping that if that happens for me, that also happens. Like getting to interact with fans of like the franchise, or the fact that they might like my voice, is just so cool. And I definitely love collecting memorabilia, and if I can get any merch of my own characters, I definitely will.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. So
Yeah.
I can't wait. We got three more questions out of the session, and then we'll be at the finale, okay?
Woo. Yeah, let's do it.
Now, All Might has inspired millions of fans around the world. Now, did portraying the woman who inspired him change the way you personally viewed his character?
Ooh. I guess I would say no, because I already had a pretty high opinion and really liked his character. It did formulate something for me in that I guess the other scenes that I've seen of his, he has had like a lot of positive experiences, but clearly a lot of like negative experiences too, ones that really shaped him for the better, but were obviously not great, like his last fight with All for One, whenever he, injured his side and he nearly died and all that stuff. But I guess seeing that experience where I was like, oh, he had a good childhood. And I think that sometimes, at least with like hero origins and things like that, you don't see it as often, because you usually see it as like, oh, they were formed through like trials and like trauma and all this awful stuff happening to them. So you don't see as often how much positive effects can like lead towards somebody being a great person, which I think is why a lot of people really love this show, because of like the positivity and like the connections to people that make somebody a good person and be like a superhero willing to like save other people and care for other people regardless, is really awesome. That's what I really like about this show. And so that was something I think is interesting too, that when initially starting the show, my mindset was like, oh, they're gonna kill off All Might like relatively early, because the hero's journey, and he's a mentor, and Izuku's got to become like stronger or whatever. But I loved, and it kind of, I guess, connected to this, that it was like, no, he's there as a mentor for like a long time, and they have a good relationship, and you think something's gonna happen to All Might, but he makes it through. And I personally really love that. And so seeing something similar where his mother is a positive influence on him, and I guess it's sort of inferred that maybe she passes away at some point in time, but it's never like my mom died and so I went to, like avenge her death or whatever, where it's like, no, here's a really sweet memory. And I think that's kind of great. And I think ultimately, in a way, hopefully more realistic, where, you'd hopefully tie on to a lot of people having like good experiences over time outweighing the bad, things like that, or maybe it's just a positive spin on it. But yeah,
So pretty much it didn't change your perspective at all. You already knew who he
I
was
knew who he
throughout the
was. It
series.
made him feel
So
more fleshed out, and I thought it was very sweet. Yeah.
okay. So I just wanted to challenge that because I know, this is your first time voicing a character related to him. And I
Yeah.
just wanted to ask that specific because I was like, did it kind of change her change her perspective on seeing All Might a little bit? But you
Mm-hmm.
already knew who he was in the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
Since we first saw him in the first episode. I mean, I
Yeah.
was only 16 years old when it first came out. So I
Oh,
mean,
yeah.
so
I watched some of it in college, and I watched the first season in one day, and then I watched the second season the second day. And that was when only those two seasons were out already.
I
That's how much
gotcha.
I was like, I gotta show everybody. And so I definitely got a lot of other people hooked on anime through that show. So it's um I think I posted about that too, of like, this is just very full circle moment where I get to play an influential character at the end of the series who plays a big role on somebody who's very influential at the beginning of the series, just, and that was a very influential thing for me, where I was like finally getting back into watching anime again, because I'd seen a little when I was younger, and then I had seen like Death Note and Attack on Titan in high school, but starting My Hero in college was where I was like, okay, I want to watch more anime like all the time. And I want to do this more because obviously the voice acting was something that was very influential for me too. So yeah,
That's that's
I think if I
amazing.
hadn't, I wouldn't have had that connection of like how important the character was, but I think it meant that much more to me because I had been connected from like the beginning of the show.
If you would have told me 10 years ago that I would be into the show, I wouldn't believe myself. But now
Like
that
10
we
years
made
later.
and now we made it to 10 years later, and I just met the
Yeah,
main voices at GalaxyCon last month.
it's crazy. It's
That's
crazy how
amazing.
life works, isn't it?
I know, right? Like I was just busy doing my other thing. I
Mhm.
met Justin. He was a great guy. I was telling him, I'm sorry I couldn't catch you throughout those 10 years. I told him school got in the way. I was like, no, stay in school. Stay in school.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
that's, so he understood, but yeah,
Mhm.
and guess what?
I hope
You're
to be a
here.
part of something with that kind of legacy, be a part of
Mm,
a show that will like kind of continue on. That's like another goal I think at some point, to be a
mm.
character in a show that like is kind of like a legacy anime. You never know. You never know. So that stuff like that is still happening.
It'll happen. Listen, I think it'll happen for you, Madeline. Just keep
Yeah,
going.
we'll see.
So, next question. Two questions left. Now, if Toshi could see everything Toshinori accomplished from becoming the symbol of peace to passing his legacy on to Deku, what do you think she'd be most proud of?
Aw. Definitely all of it. I don't know. I mean, she'd definitely be proud of her son. Um, I think if she's supposed to be anything like him, which is kind of what is inferred by what we
Hmm?
see from her, um, I think that she would be very happy about like the legacy of things as well, of how All Might was able to make an impact on other people. And I think honestly, I'm not a mother. I think I would definitely have more to say on this if I was a mother with a child. But
You would be a
I
great
think,
mother.
aw, thank you. I mean, I definitely teach kiddos, so I've got like an adjacent experience. But I was going to say, as somebody who does teach kids and sees the sometimes long term effect of how them finding their passions or them becoming who they are, um, I guess like seeing that happen to some extent as you're teaching, or knowing that you're like making a change in someone's life, is really really cool. And I do feel like that's probably something that she would also be very ecstatic about, is the fact that like he he's like a hero and stuff, and he battles bad guys, but the fact that he also like teaches kids, or he tries to like leave a legacy, is so cool. And I think that
Mhm.
also additionally speaks to like how big a heart he has. and whatnot. So, it's kind of like his version of doing the same thing she was doing, where if, those are his kiddos, those are his kids.
Oh shit! Well, I can't, that's amazing because I know, like, Drive. I mean, if she was still around, she would definitely be proud of all the things he's accomplished.
Mhm.
And it's same thing with you. I mean, you teach kids too. You probably be the same thing about your kids as well, Madeline. So
Yeah,
basic
I would
stuff.
definitely, yeah, if I had any kids, I would be that way. And I mean, the kids that I teach, absolutely, yeah.
Yeah. Hey, listen. As long as you teach, listen, I work with kids too, so
Oh,
I'm
nice.
trying to help them with their stuff, getting ready for school and everything. So
Oh,
they can be a
cool.
little funny and crafty, but they're doing their thing. But yes, I
Mhm.
think the best thing to do is, like, we try to inspire them to do the right thing. And Toshi is definitely the woman who taught All Might to, just be happy and make sure you're doing the right thing.
Mhm. Mhm.
So uh it's make me emotional.
I know. It's
So,
so sweet. Man, I gotta
so,
watch the last season, I guess, today. Dang.
oh boy. Well, last question, then we'll be at the finale about the final season, okay? Now, since My Hero Academia has reached such an incredible milestone, what do you think has made the series resonate with fans around the world for an entire decade?
Mm. I think it connects back to kind of that stuff I was saying of like the positive influence a lot of people see with heroes, which I think also kind of connects to Spider-Man, since a lot of that is similar, where like regardless of the hardship, it's that way with a lot of superheroes, not just Spider-Man. I think I just think of that since those are relevant and they kind of have similar themes and things like that going on. Um, where like I like the elements of whether or not you have a power, if you can make a difference, and then like the importance of like the connection to like your friends and caring about people and how it's a strength to care about people and want to do the right thing. Um, and I think a big thing about like Izuku dealing with some of the bullying that he experiences a lot at the beginning with Bakugo, and how he's able to like shape that, and you end up seeing that a lot with the villains too. I love sort of like villain redemption arc type stuff, even if in some cases it's a little too late. And this series focuses a lot on that with not only like the League of Villains, like the underlings under Shigaraki and things like that, but then Shigaraki himself. And when you learn the backstory behind All for One and One for All. So I always really love stuff like that where it delves into like everyone's humanity and how it's like it's very difficult to be like courageous and kind to other people, that it's a strength to be kind. Um, and that it's way harder and way easier to lash out or be mad and either isolate yourself or hurt others. So I think that's the biggest long lasting impact of that show, aside from the voices. Obviously, are like, I think you hear like Bakugo or Midoriya's voice like in 1 second, you know who it is. And it's become such a like stereotype within like the anime community of like hearing that voice and what it means. Um, as well as the animation style. I can't remember his name, but at least the guy who worked on a lot of the fight sequences and like the movies and things like that. That style was very influential, and he's worked on a lot of other projects since, like with JJK. Um, and I want to say he worked on Soul Eater. I want to say a lot of the
Yeah.
fight sequences for Soul Eater. There's like the sort of like cubic destruction of stuff and the way that the characters move.
Yeah, there's
That was
been a
very
lot of cubes
influential.
and everything. I was
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
every fight scene I've seen in those movies, especially when they get into like the Battle of Fate scenes, like, climactic battle stuff. Why
Mhm.
is they are so obsessed with cubes?
It looks
And
really cool.
I know it's supposed to be like a Punch Ultra thing, but
Mhm,
you couldn't
mhm.
choose any other shapes than that.
I don't know. I don't know. But yeah, so there's those elements were very influential too, but at least from the story perspective, that's what I was thinking about. Like it's hard to be kind, and when you are, at the kind of impact you can make.
Understood. Well, I don't agree with it, but hey, as long as the movie's perfect, I'm here for it. That's all that matters. Like, listen, if it's not broken, don't fix it.
Hmm.
You know, and yes, My Hero Academia has been like an inspiration to all of us. Pretty much, it's not all about just one person, it's about what everyone else can do as well.
Hmm. Hmm.
So, and I think that show's proved more than enough to us throughout these 10 years.
Hmm.
So, now we're at the finale. Before we conclude this, are you enjoying our discussion up to this point?
Yeah, of course. It's fun stuff to talk about too.
Okay. So, as your career continues to grow, is there a dream role or even a dream franchise that you love the opportunity to be a part of one day?
We were talking about that, I think, the other day, like a friend of mine, and I think some goals are like, yeah, being able to be in more romances would be cool. Being in a shonen, because I haven't really had a lot of experience being in like an action-based shonen would be super cool.
Mm,
One another legacy anime is One Piece. I would be so honored to be in One Piece at some point. I think
I
that'd be
don't think
super
it's going to
cool.
end anytime soon.
I'm right. Like at least
Mm,
at least it's not one that I'm too worried like pressed for time on. um well, being in that would be super cool. And I think just in general, being in a show that like has that kind of leaping off point, like if you think about Demon Slayer or Jujutsu Kaisen or Blue Lock or My Hero, where like something even recently that just gains a huge following and people love it so much. That kind of stuff is so cool. And you kind of never know. Sometimes you do know. Um, like I remember with Chainsaw Man, we were all talking for a while before the anime came out about how like, okay, once it comes out, like everybody's gonna be obsessed with it. So sometimes you know, and sometimes you don't. So I think it'd be fun to be a part of one of those kind of shows. Um, I feel like retroactively it'd be so cool to have been
mm,
in Sailor Moon, but I guess now if there were any more Magic Girl kind of shows, which are not happening as often now, because I was kind of, like a big phase for the 90s and early thousands. That would be another dream. I think being a Magic Girl would be super cool.
okay.
Um, and yeah, I guess like to kind of continue on the road of things that I've been doing, where I really love playing these wacky, silly, zany characters, and I hope I get to keep doing that.
Okay. Well,
Maybe
sure.
characters with accents, like being in Witch Hat or something like that. I talked to somebody else about that recently, where I was like, oh my gosh, the accent work in Witch Hat is so cool, aside from the animation and the story. So that would be another thing that would be super cool to be part of, or just a show where I get to do more accents in general.
Well, that's going to be fun to see. And listen, the pop culture stuff is not going to stop. So there's
Oh
going to
yeah.
be a lot of opportunities for you out there these next 5 years.
Hmm.
So I'm rooting for you. I'm rooting for all you guys.
Thank you.
So, um, now we always end on a reflective note. That's how I do my show here. We always end
Hmm.
on a reflective note. Now, if you could go back and talk to the Madeleine Norton who was about to step into her very first recording session, what advice would you give her knowing everything you've experienced since then?
Oh, I actually haven't been asked that question before. I think got a little flummy there.
It's okay.
This is the emotions. No, I I think um trusting that it'll be okay. I think I still am worried about being enough often, and I have a lot more confidence in that now than I did then. I just felt such a strong need to prove myself, which I think is a good thing. I think it's a good thing to have. Um, but I would kind of psych myself out of I guess like, like being rational about something and having a fun time. So towards the very beginning, I was having fun, but I was mostly just very nervous. And I don't know if I could really sway myself. I think I'd still be nervous. If I could talk to myself back then, I would probably talk about how it really is going to work out. It'll be okay. And to kind of trust in, like my training, but also in the people working with me. And that, like I don't have to prove myself so much to the people around me that hopefully some of my work and the way that I am as a person would like speak for itself. And sometimes it's hard even still to sit in. Because I've grown up just being somebody who had to like prove herself all the time, or like I need to make somebody proud, or I need to do well enough to be recognized. So if I was able to go back in time and tell myself, and me, like younger me, was able to actually like process that, I think that would help a lot.
Mm, it definitely would. So it's very, very kind of stuff said you would say to your older
Oh, yeah,
self.
I definitely like extend it to everyone that it's, like there's got to be a level of fun because I mean, I had that with theater for a while where it stopped being fun because I was just so focused on approval and doing well enough, and that it stopped becoming fun, and I never want that to happen for anybody's experience, but also my own personal experience in voice acting. And so I'm very grateful that it has never felt that way, and I don't think it will, knock on wood. But yeah.
Got it. Well, I think that kind of wraps up everything. I think you enjoyed our discussion today.
Yeah, I did. I enjoyed it a lot. It was so fun talking to you, and you asked great questions.
Hey, I come with receipts. If I don't, then why am I here?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So